Hi friends, good evening and welcome to Tech Toast with Science Spread. This is your RJ Vidya. As you all know, this show is all about science, math and also technology. And in this show, mostly I'm going to focus on science and math. Today too, I'll be talking in my show about a very famous scientist. This scientist is considered to be most genius scientist ever. I think you would have got a clue already by now about whom I'm going to talk about. This scientist is none other than, let me give you some time to think. He is a very famous scientist and everyone would have heard about him. He is a physicist and mostly he worked in the field of physics. He is none other than Albert Einstein. Let me tell you about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was born as the first child of the Jewish couple Hermann and Pauline Einstein in ULM on March 14, 1879. When Albert's grandmother first saw him for the first time, she is said to have cried continuously, telling that he is much too thick. But despite all fear, the development of young Albert was normal one. In November 1881, Albert's sister, that's younger sister Maria, was born. She was called Maja. A short time later, Einstein family went to Munich, where he first attended elementary school and later he attended Luitpold Grammar School. He was average pupil but very early interested in science and mathematics. He did not like lessons in grammar school as they were held with strict discipline and as he was forced to learn, so he didn't like grammar school. When he turned 15, he left school without any degree and then followed his family at Milan. To make up for missed degree, he attended school in Aarau, which is in Switzerland, from 1895 to 1896 when he successfully took up his A levels and began to study in Zurich. His ambition was to obtain diploma of subject teacher for mathematics and physics. He successfully finished his studies in July 1900. He moved to Bern and was given work at patent office. In his leisure time, he worked in area of theoretical physics. In 1905, he published several of his important scientific works. One of them deals with the groundbreaking special theory of relativity. Another work contains the most famous formula of world, that is E equals mc squared. This formula states that matter can be converted into energy. Let me explain what this formula is all about. In this mathematical formula, that is E equals mc squared, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for speed of light in a vacuum. In 1903, he married his college mate Meliva Merrick. 1 year later, Einstein's first son Hans Albert was born and his second son Eduard followed in 1910. In 1909, he became professor for theoretical physics at the University of Zurich. After that time, he was given a professorship at Prague and then again at Zurich. In 1914, Einstein was called to Berlin to work there scientifically. In the same year, World War I broke out. At the start of his scientific work, Einstein realized the inadequacies of Newtonian mechanics and his special theory of relativity stemmed from an attempt to reconcile the laws of mechanics with the laws of electromagnetic field. He dealt with classical problems of statistical mechanics, and problems in which they were merged with quantum theory. This led to explanation of Brownian movement of molecules. He investigated the thermal properties of light with low radiation density, and his observation laid the foundation for photon theory of light. In his early days in Berlin, Einstein postulated that the correct interpretation of special theory of relativity must also furnish a theory of gravitation, and in 1916 he published his paper on general theory of relativity. During this time he also contributed to the problems of theory of radiation and statistical mechanics. After Einstein had separated from his wife Melba, he married his cousin Elsa Löwenthal in 1919. From 1909 to 1916, Albert Einstein worked on generalization of special theory of relativity, which is called general theory of relativity. After this theory was proven right in an experiment in 1919, that is deflection of light by the sun's gravitational field, Einstein became famous overnight. He received invitations and honors from all over the world. There was hardly any magazine which did not report about him and praise his work to the skies. For the year 1921, he received the Nobel Prize for Physics. When 12-year-old Edgeworth asked his father why he was so famous, he got this answer: when a blind beetle crawls over the surface of the curved branch, it doesn't notice that the track it has covered is curved. I was lucky enough to notice what the beetle did not notice. This was the answer he gave. Look at his simplicity. Through the political situation in Nazi Germany, Einstein left the country in December 1932 and never again entered German ground. From 1933, Einstein and his family lived in Princeton, which is in USA. At the Institute for Advanced Study, he found ideal working conditions. In December 1936, Einstein's wife Elsa died. In 1939, World War II broke out. Because of his fear that Germany was working on atomic bombs, he wrote a letter to President of the United States of America, that is Franklin Roosevelt, to tell him about the possibility of atomic weapons. In 1946, he proposed a world government in which he saw the only way to achieve continuous peace. Einstein spent the last years of his life in Princeton. Until his last breath, he worked on his new theory, that is unified field theory, which however was not successful. Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955. He was 76 when he died. Today, the practical applications of Einstein's theory includes development of television, remote control devices, automatic door openers, lasers, and also DVD players. Recognized as Time magazine's Person of the Century in 1999, Einstein's intellect, coupled his strong passion for social justice and dedication to pacifism, left the world with infinite knowledge and pioneering moral leadership. This was about the biography of Einstein. the world of invention, creativity, and discovery. Here's an opportunity for all of us to explore the ocean of knowledge. This show is all about emerging trends in science and technology, math, quiz, facts, and much more. So friends, get ready to listen Tech Toast with Science Spread with your RJ Vidya only on Radio Udan. You can hear this show every Monday from 7 to 8 pm and rebroadcast every Tuesday from 2 to 3 pm. To contribute any article or information regarding science, math or technology, or to give your valuable feedback or suggestion, please send a mail to ttwithss@gmail.com. That is ttwithss@gmail.com or vidya.y@radioudan.com. That is vidhya.y@radioudan.com. Or you can also give your feedback by visiting the website www.radioudan.com.
प्रतिभा की पहचान,
प्रज्ञा की मुस्कान,
सबलांगों का साथी, ये है रेडियो उड़ान।
रेडियो उड़ान के प्रोग्राम्स की जानकारी के लिए, शोज में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, किसी भी शो को फीडबैक देने के लिए, आर्काइव रिक्वेस्ट करने के लिए, आरजे बनने के लिए और अपने फेवरेट आरजेस की प्रोफाइल्स पढ़ने के लिए लॉग ऑन करें www.radioudan.com। स्काइप आईडी रेडियो उड़ान, ईमेल mail@radioudan.com। रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ।
Now that we know biographical note of Einstein and his life in brief and all his achievements, let's see some of the unknown facts of this great scientist. All the scientists have many facts which most of us would have never heard, so I'd like to tell you few about this great scientist. Albert Einstein was the man behind theory of relativity. He was absent-minded professor who was very genius at work. He was one of the most successful and much talked about scientists. We know about this. Let's listen to some of the unknown facts of Einstein's life. First fact, Einstein was born abnormally with large head. Mother Pauline Einstein, when saw newly born fat baby Albert Einstein with abnormally large sized head, she thought he was distorted baby. After looking at him, his grandmother became so anxious that she started muttering, "Much too fat baby, much too fat," and such comments. Few weeks later, his head became normal, and unlike expectation, Albert started growing as a normal child, except for a fact that he was little bit slower compared to other kids. So when he was born, he had a very large head. As he grew up, he grew like a normal child itself. Second fact, Einstein suffered from speech difficulty. In his childhood as a baby, Einstein spoke very slowly. His speech was not clear and he would take time to frame an entire sentence in his head and then speaking it at once in one breath. His parents were always worried, thinking he might be a retarded child. So he had problem speaking. He used to think of a sentence in his mind and speak in one breath itself. Now there are many cases where number of scholars developed speech late in their childhood. This symptom was later known as Einstein syndrome. Later, the syndrome for scholars who were speaking late, this syndrome was known as Einstein syndrome. Third fact, Einstein's inspiration, which is a compass. As a 5-year-old, once Einstein was sick. He was resting on the bed. His father gave him a simple pocket-sized compass, the needle pointing at fixed direction, and this compass created interest in the young mind about science. This remained the much talked incident in Einstein's life, which he often mentioned even after gaining the fame. This was the inspiration, and because of a compass he got interest in science. Next is Einstein's failure in university entrance exam. Albert Einstein failed in entrance examination held by Swiss Polytechnic School in year 1895. He passed in math and science section but failed in other subjects such as history, geography and languages. Einstein was forced to go to trade school before he reappeared for the entrance exam and at last admitted to Polytechnic School after one whole year. So he had to waste 1 year because he just cleared math and science and he couldn't clear other subjects like history, geography and things like that. Now next fact is Einstein had a daughter and he didn't reveal this. After his death, private letters of this great genius revealed startling information about his personal life. He had a daughter which he hadn't revealed, and Einstein never saw this daughter Liesl, and her fate remained mysterious. Next fact, Einstein had a strange contract, that is Einstein's academic success and his world tours came at a price. His family life got disturbed and his relationship with his wife Meliva became strange. In order to solve the problems, Einstein proposed a strange contract to his wife. Few of the conditions in the contract were as follows. These are the conditions that he had put in his contract. He said his wife that you will make sure that my clothes and laundry are kept in good order. Second, that I will receive my 3 meals regularly in my room. Third, that my bedroom and study are kept neat, and especially that my desk is left for my use only. Meliva agreed to all his conditions and then they started living together again. Next fact, Albert Einstein versus Hans Einstein. Hans Einstein was his son. Einstein had a sour relationship with his son Hans Einstein. His son blamed his father for not sharing the Nobel Prize with his mother. Even father and son relationship got worse when his son Hans decided to marry to the much older lady whom Albert Einstein described as unattractive woman. Father and son remained apart whole life. When Einstein died, he had left not much inheritance to his son Hans Einstein. So father and son were apart whole life. Next fact, Einstein's most favorite and least favorite thing. Einstein's most favorite thing was his violin. During his busy schedule, meetings and world tours, Einstein always found time to play his violin. He loved playing his violin, which gave him peace of mind. He named his violin as Lena. Lena was always with Einstein in his good or bad times. Einstein's least favorite thing was the hair cutting. Einstein's whitish, long, unkempt hair always spread out over his head, as he hated having haircuts. But Einstein's hairstyle became highly popular hairstyle throughout the world. So his favorite thing was playing violin and his hatest thing was cutting his hair. Next fact, Einstein's uncommon but extraordinary brain. After his death in 1955, the Princeton Hospital pathologist Thomas Harvey took his brain and kept researching his brain with the help of other scientists. It was found that Einstein's brain had special and unique features when compared with human brain. Harvey even went on to exhibit Einstein's brain by keeping it in the jar as he went in his car on a cross-country trip to California. So Einstein's brain wasn't normal, it was little bit different from human brain because it had many extraordinary features. These are all the facts that most of us will not know about Einstein. These are the very interesting facts about his life. We already spoke enough about his life and all the achievements and even about his personal life a bit.
बड़ा नटखट है रे कृष्ण कन्हैया, का करे यशोदा मैया। बड़ा नटखट है रे कृष्ण कन्हैया, का करे यशोदा मैया। खट है रे कृष्ण कन्हैया, का
some quotations which were said by Einstein. All these quotations will really help us because he was a genius and it might help us in one or the other way. Just take it as an inspiration. Einstein was a genius, so he was called to speak about various topics, and in various of his speeches he has given us various inspiring quotations. Now let's see few of his quotes, then we'll get to know that he was a real genius. First one, few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. Second, everything should be as simple as it is, but not simpler. Next, try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Next, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. Next, great spirits have encountered violent oppositions from mediocres. Next, the splitting of the atom has changed everything except for how we think. Next, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Next, a human being is part of whole called by us as the universe. Next, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, the other is as though everything is a miracle. Next, if there is any religion which would cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism. Next, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Next, look deep into nature and then you will understand everything better. Next, a man should look for what is, but not for what he thinks it should be. Next, a person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Next, a table, a chair, a bowl of fruits, and a violin. What else does a man need to be happy? Next, a question that sometimes drives me hazy. Am I or the others crazy? Next, all religions, art, science are branches of the same tree. Next, anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. Next, any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. Next, anger dwells only in the bosom of fools. Next, concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Next, everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. Next, all that is valuable in human society depends upon the opportunity for development accorded the individual. Next, few people are capable of expressing with equanimity opinions which differ from prejudices of their social environment. Most people are even incapable of forming such opinions. Next, he who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. Next, I am not only a pacifist but a militant pacifist. I am willing to fight for peace. Nothing will end war unless people themselves refuse to go to war. Next, I believe that a simple and unassuming manner of life is best for everyone, best both for body and the mind. Next, I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Next, I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Next, information is not knowledge. Next, intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. Next, intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. Next, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. Next, joy in looking and comprehending is nature's most beautiful gift. Upon refusing surgery at the age of 76, Einstein said, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share of work. It is time to go. I will do it elegantly." Next, I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Next, it is not that I am smart. It is just that I stay with problems longer. Next, I think and think for months and years. 99 times the conclusion is false. The 100th time I am right. Next, most people say that it is the intellect that makes a great scientist. They are wrong. It is character. Next, only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength can be a true master, for this mastery demands all of a person. Next, imagination is everything. It is preview of life's coming attractions. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Next, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Next, I never think of the future. It comes sooner. Next, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Next, insanity, doing the same thing again and again and expecting for different results. Next, information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. Next, you have to learn the rules of the game and then you have to play better than anyone else. Next, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created it. Next, weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. Next, the only source of knowledge is experience. Next one, you never fail until you stop trying. Next, once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. Next, a ship is always safe at the shore, but that is not what it is built for. Next, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Next, only those who attempt the absurd can achieve the impossible. Next, it is better to believe than to disbelieve. In so you bring everything to realm of possibility. Next, imagination is more important than knowledge. Next, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you have to keep moving. Next, only a life lived for others is worthwhile. Next, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Next, True religion is real living, living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness, all one's honesty. Next, the world we have created it is product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. Next, bear in mind that wonderful things you learn in school are work of many generations. All this is put in your hands as your inheritance in order that you may receive it, honor it, add to it, and one day faithfully hand it on to your children. Next, nothing truly valuable arises from ambition or from mere sense of duty. It stems rather from love and devotion to men and toward objective things. Next, study and in general the pursuit of truth and beauty is sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. Next, your fervent wishes can only find fulfillment if you succeed in attaining love and understanding of men and animals and plants and stars, so that every joy becomes your joy and every pain your pain. Next, the difference between stupidity and genius is genius has its limits. Next, the only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. Next, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learnt in school. Next, the gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent to observe positive knowledge. Next, setting an example is not the main means of influencing others, it is the only means. Next, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life believing that it's stupid. So here we should know that never judge a person. Repeating this quote again, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will remain in its whole life believing that it's stupid. Next, learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. I hope you were inspired by few of these quotes. He was a man who had lot of knowledge and also who spoke inspiring messages and have inspired so many people. Hope you will learn from these quotes. Have you ever heard Albert Einstein talking? In the fall of 1941, Albert Einstein gave this extraordinary reading of his essay, and his essay was called The Common Language of Science. It was recorded in September of 1941 as a radio address to British Association for Advancement of Science. The recording was apparently made in America, as Einstein never returned to Europe after emigrating from Germany in 1933. Einstein begins by sketching a brief outline of development of language before exploring the connection between language and thinking. The final part of his speech emphasizes that science is just the means, not the end goal. So this is in his original voice itself, he is reading the essay, and it's really interesting. I want all of you all to listen this thing because we hardly get to listen the voices of great scientists. Since he himself has read this, it's very nice to listen in his own voice. So just let's listen this audio clip. It's almost for 8 minutes, but it's really inspiring and interesting.
The common language of science. The first step towards language was to link acoustically or otherwise commutable signs to sense impressions. Most likely, all sociable animals have arrived at this primitive kind of communication, at least to a certain degree. a higher development is reached when further signs are introduced and understood which establish relations between those other signs designating sense impressions. At this stage, it is already possible to report somewhat complex series of impressions. We can say that language has come to existence. If language is to lead at all to understanding, there must be rules concerning the relations between the signs on the one hand, and on the other hand, there must be a stable correspondence between signs and impressions. In their childhood, individuals connected by the same language grasp these rules and relations mainly by intuition. When man becomes conscious of the rules concerning the relations between signs, the so-called grammar of language is established. In an early stage, the words may correspond directly to impressions. At a later stage, this direct connection is lost in as far as some words convey relations to perceptions only if used in connection with other words. For instance, such words as is, or, thing. 10 word groups rather, 10 single words refer to perceptions. When language becomes thus partially independent from the background of impressions, a greater inner coherence is gained. Only at this further development, where frequent use is made of so-called abstract concepts, language becomes an instrument of reasoning in the true sense of the word. But it is also this development which turns language into a dangerous source of error and deception. Everything depends on the degree to which words and word combinations correspond to the world of impression. What is it that brings about such an intimate connection between language and thinking? Is there no thinking without the use of language, namely in concepts and concept combinations, for which words need not necessarily come to mind? Has not every one of us struggled for words, although the connection between things was already clear? We might be inclined to attribute to the act of thinking complete independence from language if the individual formed or were able to form his concepts without the verbal guidance of his environment. Yet most likely the mental shape of an individual growing up under such conditions would be very poor. Thus we may conclude that the mental development of the individual and his way of forming concepts depend to a high degree upon language. This makes us realize to what extent the same language means the same mentality. In this sense, thinking and language are linked together. What distinguishes the language of science from language as we ordinarily understand the world? How is it that scientific language is international? What science strives for is an utmost preciseness and clarity of concepts as regards their mutual relation and their correspondence to sensory data. As an illustration, let us take the language of Euclidean geometry and algebra. They manipulate with a small number of independently introduced concepts, respectively symbols, such as the integral number, the straight line, the point, as well as with signs which designate the fundamental operations, that is, the connections between those fundamental concepts. This is the basis for the construction, respectively definition, of all other statements and concepts. The connection between concepts and statements on the one hand and the sensory data on the other hand is established through acts of counting and measuring whose performance is sufficiently well determined. The supranational character of scientific concepts and scientific language is due to the fact that they have been set up by the best brains of all countries and all times. In solitude and yet in cooperative effort as regards the final effect, they created the spiritual tools for the technical revolutions which have transformed the life of mankind in the last centuries. Their system of concepts have served as a guide in the bewildering chaos of perceptions so that we learn to grasp general truths from particular observations. What hopes and fears does the scientific method imply for mankind? I do not think that this is the right way to put the question. Whatever this tool in the hand of man will produce depends entirely on the nature of the goals alive in this mankind. Once these goals exist, the scientific method furnishes means to realize them. Yet it cannot furnish the very goals. The scientific method itself would not have led anywhere. It would not even have been born without a passionate striving for clear understanding. Perfections of means and confusion of goals seem, in my opinion, to characterize our age. If we desire sincerely and passionately the safety, the welfare, and the free development of the talents of all man, we shall not be in want of the means to approach such a state. Even if only a smaller part of mankind strives for such goals, their superiority will prove itself in the long run.
So now we know about Einstein's biography, his life, unknown facts about him, various inspirational quotes given by him, and also we have heard his original voice. So let's thank this scientist who was a genius for all his contributions, and I hope you have enjoyed the show. To give your suggestion or feedback, please visit www.radioudan.com and click on Submit Feedback link. Next week I'll bring much information for you. Till then, have a wonderful week. This is your RJ Vidya signing off. Take care and goodbye.
दूर यहाँ से दूर मेरा तो ये जीवन तमाम मेरे यार भरा दुख से, पर मुझको जहां में मिला सुख कौन बड़ा तुझसे। तेरे लिए मेरी जान जहर हजार मैं पी लूंगा, तज दूंगा दुनिया एक तेरे संग जी लूंगा। ओ नजर के नूर आरिया जा, निलिया तू ले चल कहीं उड़न खटोले में, दूर दूर यहाँ से दूर आरिया जा। सच है कि मैं अगर सुख चैन तेरा चाहूं, तेरी दुनिया से मैं फिर कहीं अब दूर चला जाऊं।
नहीं मेरे डैडी ऐसी बात फिर से न कहना, रहेगा न जब तू फिर मुझको भी नहीं रहना, ना जा तू हमसे दूर आरिया जा, निंदिया तूने चल कहीं उड़न खटोले में, दूर 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 यहाँ से।
नहीं नहीं रे बेटा, भूल गया वादा, मेरी कसम खाया था ना तू, मतलब मेरा बेटा नहीं।